Before I can tell you how we got here, I have to take you back to the beginning. This is my story. I grew up in one of the Cape's most notorious townships, Bonteheuwel, known for gangsterism, drugs and violence. But to me, this was home. I was 5 years old when my father left our family. My single mother raised my 3 siblings and I alongside our community. As much as danger surrounded us, our community had some of the most caring, kind-hearted people. It's one thing I loved about growing up on the Cape Flats. No one would refuse help if any of us needed it. During the dark years of segregation, our community was marginalized under the law which stripped us of our dignity, and we were told that our lives as people of color were not as important or valued as others. Because of this, we weren't offered the same opportunities and were staring down a future of hopelessness. At a young age of 10 or 11, I went down to the swimming pool that was just around the corner. And there I met the swim coach there of the time was Cecil Whiteman. And he asked me if I could swim. And I said, yeah. I showed him. But yeah, he then said, that's not swimming, I will teach you how to swim. Lo and behold, a few months later, I entered in my first gala and I came stone last. And I can remember the commentator cheering me on, saying, give that the boy in lane 8 some encouragement. I eventually finished it off. I then came back 2 seasons later after Cecil's really seen something in me. And he really invested his time in me and shaped me. And the next 2 years for me was remarkable because I started winning races. I couldn't believe that I was winning races because, like I said, I had no confidence. And here all of a sudden I had all these people come in and speaking to me and also allowed me to speak to them. There was an obvious path for young men growing up in the township. Sport was my saving grace. The water became my sanctuary, a place where I felt free and in control, far from the dangers that lurked outside the pool gates. The peace of being submerged in water removed all the outside noise. Hope and faith were my secret weapons, constantly propelling me forward. This was my driving force to achieve more than what others assume I would become. At the age of 30, eventually, I passed my matric correspondently. I then wanted to study sport in the line of my interest rather than what I was equipped with. I applied at UWC and I was turned down. I made the appointment to see the head of the department at the sports science. It was human movement at the time. I took all my swimming certificates that I had that I could gather from my age 13 to 14 and 15, and I took them with me. Made the appointment with the head of the department and set the meeting up where she blankly refused me acceptance, and she said, you will not survive this degree. This is a sports science degree. You need biology, you need maths, and you need physics. It's impossible for you to make it through this degree. I showed her then my certificates of swimming. I said, I've got something in my bag. And she was astounded at my swimming ability at the time. She then gave me somebody's number that I had to call at the sports admin, which I did, and 2 weeks later I was accepted to study sports science at UWC. Okay, so my first day walking into the classroom, the class went completely quiet. And I thought, what is happening now? And then I went to sit in the benches, and these guys thought that I'm the lecturer. And then the lecturer walked in, and the lecturer is younger than me. And so that was physiology specials. So for me, they started speaking with a revision about molecules and atoms and elements, and I had no idea what they were speaking about. The head of the department's voice then rang in my ear, "You will not make this degree." That is where swimming came in again. The resilience came, and I said, we'll see about that. Shoulder to the wheel, I eventually passed with a distinction. Meeting students at the University of the Western Cape, I was exposed to multidisciplinary sport. It was then that I was also introduced to triathlon and competing. I was able to travel the world competing on various continents, representing South Africa as one of only 3 black athletes in the team. Competing in a predominantly white sport had its fair set of challenges. There was a belief that people of color were inadequate. At my first Triathlon World Championships in Perth, Western Australia, I was labelled a development athlete, even though I met all the requirements. This only motivated me to prove to everyone that I could compete in the team and be seen as equal, both on and off the playing field. Racing at the World Championships, we were all racing for our country as a common goal, for the love of the sport. In retrospect, I can see the hand of God in my life. Without a praying mother and God at the center, none of this would have been possible. Swimming undoubtedly changed the trajectory of my life. I was able to achieve dreams far beyond my own comprehension. It gave me a desire to continually strive for more. Beyond personal achievements, I wanted to try to make life a little better for others who may not have had the same opportunities, to introduce water safety and teach them the life skill of swimming. I met my childhood sweetheart Wonita during our teens as swimmers. We were both competitive swimmers and passionate about swimming. We got married and we had 2 children, and because of our love for the sport and also realizing the necessity of teaching people how to swim, we opened a swim school in Meadowridge. The dream was simple: to teach children and adults, regardless of their background or skin color, how to swim. We believe that when you teach someone to swim, you potentially minimize their risk of drowning and equally save a life. This is the driving force behind Meadowridge Swim School. The hope of sharing the same life skill that was taught to me over 50 years ago. At Meadowridge Swim School, we've witnessed the transformation of countless students. From those who once battled trauma after near-drowning incidents, to now gliding in the water with confidence. Others who couldn't put their faces beneath the surface have now become members of our competitive swimming squad. Today, I teach my students that with determination, resilience, and self-discipline, even the most daunting obstacles can be overcome. My message to others is to never, ever give up. No matter your circumstances, your dreams can be achieved.